It is another day of fighting in Iran, with the U.S. saying that about 140 U.S. troops have been wounded over there, 8 severely. And at this hour, we also know that Iran has targeted ships, the Dubai airport, and oil facilities, and that's ramping up a number of concerns, including economic ones. We are continuing our live coverage today with Dr. Paul Chabot. He is a retired naval intelligence commander, and he is joining us now live via Zoom here, and we're going to get to him in just a second. But he really provides some great insight for us. Dr. Chabot, thank you for joining us as always.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Absolutely. So I want to start just with the fighting in general. When you look at the news that has come out over the last few days, what are you seeing and what are your insights into this?
Yeah, we are not turning a corner, but we're entering different phases. The first phase of this was very unpredictable, if you will, from a perspective of looking at this globally on the outside. But it's absolutely crystal clear that Israel and the US have been working on this for months. And Israel largely has been creating what are called target packages for likely years. So, where do we stand today? Every 24 hours, there's a new wrap up. But right now, we absolutely control the airspace. We have destroyed the Iranian Navy. However, what is really picking up headlines as of recent is what's called the Strait of Hormuz, and then also potential oil impact prices with gasoline here at home. I want to hit on the Strait of Hormuz just for a moment. If you can imagine, the Gulf, there's a small choke point where all the shipping goes through, largely in the Gulf in the Middle East. About 20% of the world's oil goes through that region. We've known for decades that Iran could drop just a single mine in there, which would clog up any traffic going to or leaving from. And so right now, U.S. forces have decimated the mining capability for the most part for their significant military apparatus in Iran. But now we've got to worry about the proxies that could potentially lay mines in there and cause some economic turmoil as well.
And you look at the mining capabilities as well. Let's dive into that a little
Okay.
more. What exactly does that mean for Iran, and why is that important for the U.S. to take out?
Well, Iran really understands that they have lost militarily, but we also understand that when you look at the organizational leadership structure of Iran, they recreated themselves after the 1979 revolution, where they have multiple pillars to sustain their government. So, as we saw, taking out their supreme leader did not end anything. Things still carry on. But Iran knows the Middle East history. They understand that if they can bring economic conflict to the world, if they can raise our casualties in the US, we've lost 7 brave members of the United States military service thus far. If those numbers go up, economic uncertainty begins to have an impact here at home. Iran feels like that is potentially a weapon that they can put on full display, not only from the Gulf, but proxies across the region and potentially lone wolf attacks across the globe.
And you look at President Trump's prediction that he had at the start of this, where he said things would last 4 to 5 weeks over there. Do you think that's still a realistic possibility, or do you believe this is going to go on longer?
I think it's going to go on longer, but I also believe, from a military perspective, we have what are called COAs, courses of action. And the situation obviously is fluid, and I don't have a back view to that anymore now that I've retired. But historically, what we want to do is control the air, control the seas. What we're not going to do here is really control the ground. We're not sending in ground troops. And I don't think there's any appetite in the American public to do so. So, what does a victory look like? I think it is difficult to imagine. However, here's what's really, I think, what we should pay attention to is Iran certainly has a supreme leader. And now it's the son of the other supreme leader that we killed a few days ago. But what we want to pay attention to is their president. Their president is a heart surgeon. He was elected a few years ago. He's seen as much more moderate. A few days ago, he put out an apology for his nation attacking other Gulf regions. So, not only militarily are we looking at this, but from the State Department, Marco Rubio, I can almost assure you there are back channels happening as we speak and have happened before. And we're going to look for those moderates that we can work with in Iran to hopefully cease down military operations and see a government that does unconditional surrender with a moderate like their potential president without him being taken out not by us but by his own people. So this is a very difficult circumstance, and every 24 hours brings new headlines.
Absolutely. And we're already seeing an impact in Michigan here too, Dr. Chabot, with Stryker, which is a medical equipment company based out of the Kalamazoo area in Portage, reporting that there was a cyber attack that disrupted its global networks, with the Wall Street Journal reporting the logo of Handala. It's a hacking group linked to Iran appearing on company login pages as well. So that's another layer to this.
It is, and it's all over this country. It's all over the globe. I have friends in law enforcement on the West Coast where there's notices going out of potential drone activity on the West Coast. Nothing has happened, but these are warning signs because the adversary, the enemy, would like to do everything they can to disrupt. Because what they know historically, not just with the United States, but war in general with populations, that if they can inflict economic turmoil, loss of life around the globe, as time carries on, historically, in recent 20, 30 years, less and less of the public tends to stand behind that initial military action. So if you think about it from the adversary's perspective, they have nothing to lose because they've already lost their Navy, they've lost their Air Force, they've lost most of their capabilities to go to war. So now they're going to use their proxies, technology. But on top of this, we got to think about China and Iran just for a moment. Iran largely uses intel, a lot of it from Russia, even still today. When the United States used one of our subs to use an old school Mark torpedo with advanced technology to take out an Iranian frigate in international waters a few days ago, that Iranian frigate was in training exercises with Russia and China. But neither Russia or China are engaging in this, and nor should they. But it is the economic point, right? The cost of gas is hitting every single American at the pocketbook. This could probably go on for a few more days, a few more weeks. We'll see where this goes. But eventually, the economic question is going to have a significant impact in polling. And this also is fair to say is going to impact elections positively or negatively for the party in power.
Absolutely. And we're seeing wildly high gas prices really across the country, just significant spikes over the last week. And President Trump, to the point we were just talking about a second ago, said that the war could be short-lived, but if global oil supplies are disrupted, that would lead to an escalation in fighting as well. He left the door open for that. So there's, again, so many questions involved in this.
It is. When you think about the US Navy, which I retired from, the whole purpose of navies is to encourage freedom of the seas for just normal commerce. And so if you got the Strait of Hormuz getting shut down, or right now you have the potential for these large shipping carrier cargo containers increasing, having insurance costs skyrocket almost 1,000%, those costs are going to trickle down. Now, look, America largely oil energy independent. But the problem here is that oil is a global market. And so you have speculators. That's why we're seeing the cost of gasoline, oil rise up. Certainly, we have a lot here at home, but we all play on the same global field. So whatever happens globally, halfway across from where we are, safe here at home, is still going to impact our pocketbook. Now, certainly, we have the strategic release. A lot of oil there. There's been no indication we're going to release from there right now. Oil prices are higher. Could they go a lot higher? Absolutely. If things begin to turn, where more refineries are hit, where there's more economic uncertainty, and where there are attacks on Western allied or American soft targets.
And as far as like for people watching this interview, what should the big takeaway be for them at this point? What should they keep in mind as we move forward?
So, two things. One, as a military veteran, most of your listeners at home know somebody who's served in the military. And I've mentioned this before. When we were in Iraq during the surge, during that entire time, most of the IEDs that were killing or greatly harming our American service members were not made in Iraq. They were made by Iran, bringing that over, and they killed a lot of us. And so we know and see the evil in Iran. We know the world will be a better place without that regime in power. But we also know there's a lot of good people in Iran who've tried to stand up already in recent months and have been quashed. So we want to see peace in the Middle East, but we want to see peace in a sense that actually brings peace and prosperity to the globe. And so there are good people in Iran that need to stand up. America, through our State Department and military, I'm assuming are going to provide strong air protection. If you see the Iranian police, National Guard, and others coming down on those protesters, we should watch for the good people in Iran to stand up and take back their country.
Absolutely. Retired Naval Intelligence Commander Dr. Paul Chabot, also a former White House advisor. Really appreciate you lending us your insight today. It's such important news, and we know you'll continue to follow this along with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Take care.
Just about 3:11. Good news in Oakland County. The Great Lakes Water